There is a moon up in the sky. The moon needs to be able to switch on and off, and as the play progresses, grow into a full moon. The set, a bed and 2 chairs, a table piled with books. It can be taken apart and transformed. We see a figure, Viwe, lying in the bed, tossing and turning, shadows of butterflies around her bed. A man, Ndikho, is sitting at a table and lights a candle. Light is cast across the room, and Ndikho begins to search for a book. When he finds it, he pages frantically through it. Until he finds the page he is looking for. It flickers fiercely and goes off as Viwe rises in the shadows.
Dada? 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 Dada?
Ikhona Viwe.
Strikes a match, and the room fills with warm light again. He continues his reading and making notes. Viwe rises from the bed and moves to sit next to her father.
I had this dream.
Yes.
It was the same one.
Yes.
Again.
Okay, Viwe. You should go to bed now. Go to bed.
Climbs back into bed. She lies there in thought, staring at the ceiling. She hums a soft melody to herself until she falls asleep. Fade to blackout. Scene 2. Iphupho lika Viwe lokuqala. A small light appears almost immediately in the blackout. Another joins it. They spread until it is a galaxy of stars on stage. The moon remains, but shifts colors.
I'm lying in the ocean. It is dark around me until I see a light. Hey, far away, it is small and white. Flickers softly, like a butterfly. It flies towards me, hot, and then into me. It becomes me.
Scene 3. Ichomi. The moon becomes the sun. Viwe sits with Thami on a hill overlooking the nearby village, with butterflies fluttering about them. They are laughing at a joke Thami had just told. Thami is on their feet, mimicking somebody running but stumbling.
Mamela, uThixo Ndukho wamleqa waqhosha ingalo. Mamela, Saba, as he was about to catch, ibhruku yakhe was too tight.
Jonga, tell me, I can see my house from here.
Yeah, me too. It's pink now. Yabo. The new people there, they changed it. And they opened a shop where you can buy sweets.
Okay, tell me.
Why did you and your dad move so far from everybody else? Akho kwalala kufuphi kuni apha. Everybody says it's because your father was embarrassed with the stuff with your mom. And Unondo said you'll be like your mom. That's what Umakurake told her.
Wena, what do you think?
I think Umakuranondo uyazithanda wethu indaba zabantu. So much so people call her uDaily Sun. Yes, the other day, Mamela, I saw her peeking Lenduzen out the window while Indangazake was sleeping. Viwe. Where did we meet? Do you know?
You just always been there, Thami. I remember you from always. Since you were little. What? That's a funny question.
I was wondering, Jay, if you know when we met. Or maybe you forgot.
I remember. You moved here when your family moved here. I was 6 and you were... how old are you, Thami? You look the same all the time, yes?
Jonga. Jonga uNontu nomuntu wakhe bephuzana.
Isn't that? Oh,
They laugh boisterously. Thami jumps up, pulls Viwe to her feet. They jeer as they run down the hill to get a closer look. Thami throws their arm over Viwe's shoulder.
It took me on Viwe.
Scene 4, a notebook. The moon is off. Viwe is sitting on the living room floor, doing some work and humming the same melody. Her ear is itchy and she rubs it fervently. It is around sunset, and the house is colored an intense orange. The light flickers on behind Viwe, stays on, and then goes off. Beat. Closer to Viwe, the light flickers on, sputters, and dies. This time, Viwe has noticed it and stops humming. She glances about the room before turning back to her books. As she is reading, the book lights up a bright red. Viwe scoots back on her bum, away from the book, darting her head in search of where the light is coming from. As she does so, the red light moves from her school books to the pile of her father's books on the table. It bounces from book to book before settling onto a small, tattered, leather-bound notebook. She moves towards the pile and picks up the notebook. Taking it with her, she goes to sit on the edge of her bed. She is followed by the light, which has turned a warm blue and stays behind her like a person. She begins to read. As she is reading, the sun sets, a half moon rises, and Ndikho rushes into the house, lugging 2 bags full of books, which he empties onto the floor. He kneels down and begins to sort through the books. Viwe tucks the notebook beneath her bum.
Ken, all of you.
Oliver,
Bekunjani esikolweni namhlanje?
right.
Is er up? Hey, ibenjani imini yakho?
Okay, then. Uthami bebuza ba utheni singasahlali ekhaya thina wathi onondi bathi mna ngizofana nomama
Thami.
what do they mean I'll be like umama?
You know, Viwe, your mother, before your mother left, she used to be an amazing singer. When people would visit, they would ask her to sing for them. Aphakame ngobuhle. And then she would sing, and they would ask more from her. I've heard you humming here in the house. What is that song that you're humming? Come on now, Viwe. Please, sing for us.
Offering her his hand, he pulls her onto her feet and begins to croakily sing the melody Viwe likes to hum. She stands back to watch as he dances slowly and sings. She laughs at him, and he laughs with her, before continuing his off-tune song. Again, he offers her his hand, and she places her palm in his, and is pulled into a swirling dance. They laugh and dance around the room. Panting and gathering their breath, they sit on the bed, side by side.
Mamela, you are too young for me to explain something good. But Gloria, I've always been looking for Umamako ever since she left here.
What? Why do you always say she left?
Because I'm hoping that she will come back one day.
Iphupho lika Viwe lesibili. This scene requires the three performers to work together to create a sonic and physical landscape of Viwe's dream, transforming the set. There are children playing and clapping. They play around Viwe and begin to mock her, growing grotesque. She escapes and runs to a staircase, climbing to the top, away from the children. The light appears in front of her, and she continues to follow it. Butterfly lights appear around her. The moon fades on. Viwe interacts and responds to the light, as though in conversation with it. Through this interaction, we get the sense that the light is encouraging her to jump from the top of the staircase, and she is questioning it initially, but then she decides to jump. She falls into the water below her, floating on the surface before it spits her onto the shore, where, rested, she falls asleep. Scene 6.
Viwe!
Thami is standing at the house's entrance, calling Viwe's name repeatedly,
Viwe!
before moving towards her and shaking her.
Viwe!
Viwe jogs up and darts her eyes about the room.
Viwe! Viwe! Viwe!
Thami,
I've been calling you for so long. What's going on? Ngene aphi ngathi kukho umuntu obuthetha naye. Why is this house such a mess?
The set has been moved about the room from the dream scene. Books are scattered all about. Viwe shakes her head confused. She begins to move the bed back into place as Thami watches her.
Are you sure you're right?
have you heard anything from uThixo about Mama and what happened to her? uTata thinks that she's going to come back. But I don't understand how. If she left, then why hasn't she come back to see us again?
Maybe she can't come back.
They sit for a bit before Thami stands and picks some of the books up off the floor. There is a flash of light. Viwe jumps up and Thami jumps onto one of the blocks. Viwe holds back her laughter, remembering how she felt when she first experienced this. The light hovers over the table, and as Viwe pulls out the notebook from beneath the books, it floats to her side. Thami gasps audibly and inches backward. Viwe nervously to the light.
Phambi never uthetha nelight.
Molo.
The light moves in response to the greeting.
It can talk. The light can talk.
Viwe nods distractedly, The light moves to hover ahead of Thami, who inches backwards slowly. Softly, it moves towards their face and around Thami, who watches it, amazed.
You can hear me.
The light bounces up and down. Thami cackles and covers their face with their hands.
It's true.
The light runs dizzy circles around Thami, causing them to spin around and fall onto their bum. Dizzy. Viwe, who is watching this amused, laughs with them, and the light returns to hover over the notebook from the previous day.
Read it a little bit that day. My mother's journal, Thami.
Don't you think your father will be angry that you read it?
Hey, utheni ulikwala?
No, I just want you to be sure that that is what you want to do.
Thami stands behind her, looking from the light to the book. Viwe begins to read aloud.
I remember that time we went to the beach and there were so many butterflies. It felt like they were following me around. And they were all white, like stars. But in the daytime, sometimes I have dreams that maybe I can fly, but I always land in the ocean after I jump.
Thami leans further forward, almost hanging over the book to read clearly together with Viwe.
I'm lying in the ocean.
In the ocean.
It is dark around me
Kumnyama kodwa ndiyakubona ukukhanya.
until I see a light.
Kudele.
There,
Buncinci kwaye bumhlophe.
it's small and white.
Flickers njengemvemvane.
It flickers softly like a butterfly.
Buyabhabha ngakum bushushu.
It flies towards me, hot,
Buze kum
and then into me.
bubandim.
It becomes me. I've heard this before. In a dream.
She looks past Thami. Ndikho is standing in the doorway. Thami straightens up. Ndikho does not move. He and Viwe are looking at one another.
Iminjani imini yakho Ndikho?
Does not answer. Ndikho sits down. Viwe remains standing, looking from Thami to her father.
Hlala phansi.
He does not move. Ndikho stands and moves to rummage behind the pile of books. He brings out a white candle, a piece of paper, and a white flower in a jar. Thami and Viwe watch as he places the items on the floor in the center of the room. Viwe still holds the book in her hand, and Thami moves to sit at the table. Viwe kneels beside her father. He lights the candle.
Your mother was very sick, Viwe, for a very long time. We went to doctors. They could not help her. I spent all my teaching money sending her to therapists because she had begun to have dreams. Well, She'd always had dreams, but now they were becoming her real life. One day, I came home to our old house. You were 6 or 7 at the time.
They begin to enact the physical journey of the dream as before, the other two creating the soundscape as Ndikho relays the story. Thami slips out during this reenactment.
She was walking around the room, but she could not see me, talking to somebody. As I watched her, she ran about the room as if from something, but began to climb on top of the furniture. Remember we had that small shelf in the house? She climbed on top of it until she was bending because of the roof, and she was screaming.
Why? Why must I jump when I can fly?
And then she jumped, but I caught her.
Now completed the sequence, and Viwe lies in her bed. Thami is no longer there.
Tata, I have the same dream.
But on another day, I wasn't there to catch her.
Tata, I told you. I had the same dream.
Where do you?
And it can talk to me, that it understands me. It told me to jump. It told me to jump into the water, but uThami was there. Today, that uThami saw it. uThami, my friend.
He holds out his hand for Viwe to pass him the notebook and reads from a specific page.
Soon, it will be time for me to leave here. And I will miss my family. I will miss them more knowing I can never come back to them. She wrote this when she came back from the hospital after the accident. And then a few days later, I came back here and she was gone. Viwe, that is all I can tell you. But tomorrow, we will talk. And you must tell me about your friend.
Takes her in and sits on the edge of the bed. He hums the melody to her as she falls asleep. Scene 7. Gubani uThami.
Viwe. Viwe.
Thami is standing in the center of the room where Ndikho placed the items the night before. Ndikho is sleeping in his spot next to the bed.
Viwe.
Tell me, what are you doing here? I want to get into trouble.
I want to relax. Relax, man. I snuck out. Nobody knows I'm gone.
Something went on.
And why did you leave yesterday?
I thought you and your dad needed to talk. That's all. He won't wake up. Viwe? Do you know who I am?
Oh, so serious. Obvious, Thami.
Duh, but do you know anybody else called Utan?
Thami picks up the notebook among the items on the floor and turns to the front page, handing the book to Viwe.
Indile, Nobathembu, James. What is it? It's just my mother's name.
He leans forward and points at a word in the book.
Nobathembu.
There's a moment's stillness. Viwe looks down at the book and up at Thami, muttering the name again. Thami reaches into their pocket and brings out a small light, which they hold out to Viwe.
My name is Thami.
Nobathembu.
Thami nods and places the light in Viwe's palm.
No.
Viwe?
No.
Where did we meet? Tell the truth. Do you remember?
Yes, I do remember. I was 6 and you were...
I was always with you.
Mama. Why didn't you leave me?
Turning to the items on the floor.
Emveni kwala ngozi, I had to leave. I knew I had to go. But that your father would not let me. He was not ready to accept all the things I had to do. Nokuba ndingubani. So, I left. But I left you this book, so that you would know when the time came for you and who you are. Uyayazi uba utata wakho nguNdlovu, andithi? Singomvemvana ke thina ke. Inside us live butterflies. So we are drawn to light. That is what guides us. And to nature and the outside. And now, you must help your father know what you know.
Thami nods, picks a petal from the flower and sets it on fire. Thami then rises and holds out their hand for Viwe to stand.
You've been here all this time, Mama. Why didn't you tell me?
You were not ready, but now you are. He's up. He's up, Mdana.
Embrace for a while before Thami leads Viwe to sit at the table. She sings to her the song that Viwe has been humming. They sit and talk, as the sun rises. Scene 8. Indlovu nomvevana. Viwe has fallen asleep at the table. Thami sits next to her. Ndikho rises from the floor where he was asleep. Viwe grumbles as she wakes up. Ndikho glances at the floor where the petal ashes lie, and then up at Viwe.
Viwe, wenzeni Viwe?
Can you help me talk to him?
Ndikho.
Molo Ndlovu.
Molo Ndlovu.
Ndakugqibela nini mntu wam? Andisavuyi ndiviwe nguwe.
Thami walks to stand beside him. Ndikho is looking at Viwe, but when Thami clasps his hand, he feels it.
Ndithuma uViwe kuwe kuze azokuxelela le nto ekudala uyibaleka.
Ayikho into ozokuyifumana kwezi ncwadi uzifundayo engandibuyisa kuwe.
Kodwa Ndikho.
Ndilapha. Ndizinkwenkwezi ebusuku. Imvemvane emini. Ndikho ecaleni kwakho kule ntombi yethu. Ndiviwe nguye ngenxa ehamba nokukhanya.
Xola Ndlovu.
Kuze intombi yethu izoxola nayo.
Through this speech, Thami kisses Ndikho gently and moves to hug Viwe. Thami slips something into Viwe's pocket and moves to the door, standing to watch Ndikho and Viwe as they look at one another. Ndikho sits down, overwhelmed, as Thami walks out. Viwe feels inside her pocket. As she pulls out the small light, the lights begin to fade to black, and the cluster of stars switch on, one by one in the room, and the sun becomes the moon.